finally arrived. True Love, her revealing and very personal new book, is out tomorrow. I read it. I really loved it. Please welcome back to the show, Jennifer Lopez. I gotta say, I thought your book was fabulous.
I
didn't know what to
hear you
expect.
say that. Yeah, because I didn't know what to expect either.
No, I know. It's so revealing.
Yeah.
I hate to use the word surprisingly, but it is very, very honest. And you use your 2012 World Tour as
Right.
sort of a vehicle to explore the internal journey that you were taking during that time.
Well, it's funny because when we thought about making the book, it was right after I did the tour, and the whole idea was, let's do a diary of the tour. It was my first world tour. I had never been on tour before that. And it was just supposed to be like pictures and little anecdotes about, you know, for the fans, for my fans.
So nothing serious.
Nothing serious. Yeah. But as I started putting it together, it turned into something else, because I realized that all my songs over the years and putting the show together and what I wanted to say to people for the first time, or putting together a tour like that, like who am I? What am I doing? And at that time I was just recently divorced from Mark, and I realized there was so much going on, and I started kind of reflecting as I was like going back to my first album and picking songs for that and putting it in there and why I wrote that and why I sang that.
Coming and coming, right?
And all of a sudden it just turned into something else, and I realized that I was really in a transitional time and kind of on a transformational journey into learning something that I needed to learn. So,
you know, the start of the book, it should be you're on such a high. You're at a photo shoot. You've just been named by People the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah.
You have a #1 hit single. You're a judge on American Idol, which is through the roof in the ratings.
Right.
Everything is great, and yet you're having one of the worst days of your life.
Right.
What was going on that none of us knew?
You know, it was, again, I was realizing that my marriage was falling apart. And, you know, and the kids were only like 3 years old at the time, and it was just, the whole thing was heartbreaking. And it's so funny how life is like that sometimes, and you're having tremendous highs, and at the same time you're going through probably the worst moment of my life at that moment.
But people didn't know it until you blurted it out. You said...
Right, right. Well, I was there, I was at this photo shoot, and I was sitting there, and of course, things have been going on for a while. I just wasn't ready to deal with the fact that it could be over. You know, I didn't want, that was like the worst thing in the world for me, the one thing that I would never have wanted to happen.
Because this was the fairy tale marriage, right? This was the one.
Yeah, it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I had waited so long to have kids, and I finally did, and and I'm realizing, like, oh my God, this is not right.
And you said, I can't be with him.
Yeah, I said to my mom, and once I did that, I started sobbing. You know what I mean? Because I finally, like, let the feeling and the words out of my mouth. Like, I had held it for so long. Like, no, this can't happen. This is not going to happen. I'm not going to do this. You know, I'm gonna make this work. And I think that's how everybody feels at that moment. You know, but to put it on paper was like so more terrifying than going through it. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Now, looking back, Jen, what did go wrong?
A lot. You know, it's hard to say. You know, a lot of it is private, but at the same time, you know, you just come to a realization, like, this is not the best thing for all of us, and that's what it comes down to. And when you have kids, you have to think about those things. It's not just about you anymore. It's about them. And I wanted the best situation for all of us, and I think Mark did too, and that's what we feel that we did.
Yeah, sometimes you hold a relationship together for the kids, and sometimes you need to end a relationship for the kids.
Right.
Which is often the case.
It was the hardest decision of my life.
And when you finally told Mark, and he said, okay.
Yeah.
You write that in the book.
Well, it was a long process to get to that. You know, in a book, again, it's going to seem like it all happened so fast. It didn't. It took a long time, and a long time of both of us doing the best we could and trying the hardest we could, because we had kids and because we loved each other, and we still do. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, when I said it to him, you know, I kind of wish that he would have been like, no way. But he knew it too, and he was like, okay, and I was like, okay, you know, and that was kind of what happened.
And then you decide to do this world tour.
Yeah.
And you say that was the right time to do it.
You know, I think in moments of crisis, you know, you look for something to show that you can survive, or some new challenge, or some new thing that you can focus on. And at that time, I had never been on a tour, and it's something that my manager had wanted me to do for years. I mean, I had, you know, almost 9 albums at that time, and I had never been on a world tour. But at that time, I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. My fans have been asking me for years, and I think I just needed it too. As much as they needed it, I needed it, and it just kind of worked out.
Yeah, what did you need it for, just to sort of...
I think it was just, again, to have something to focus on, to really, you know, have a new challenge. And probably because artistically I knew deep down that I needed to delve into all of that stuff. Because when I act in movies, I'm playing a different character. But when I sing my songs, it really is me. It's a reflection of who I am, you know, all the different parts of who I am. And that could be silly and fun sometimes with some of my songs, but it also can be very serious. And when I started looking at my songs over the years, I realized it really tells my story. And more than maybe even people realize.
Yeah, your story, based on what I read in your book, is of a lot of relationships that were different except for this one common thread, this passionate intensity.
Yeah.
That you sort of mistook for forever after.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. There was just this feeling of like I'm very. I think because I'm an, or maybe everybody's like this. I don't know. But because I'm an artist, I feel things very deeply, and passion and kind of romance and all that kind of stuff is so exciting to me. You know what I mean? So
to all of us.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But also to me, and I was always attracted to the more intense the person was, or the more passionate they were, the more things, the way they acted with their love, to me, really is what attracted me a lot of times. And I realized that that's not always a great thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
As cool as it is in the beginning, it has to sustain beyond that and be something that has real basis to it, and where real people are, you know, it can go beyond just that beginning honeymoon stage.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Jennifer Lopez in just a second.
You're always more apt to believe the negative things that people say about you than the positive things.
Your little boy falls into your lap and says to you, "Will you always be my mommy?"
Yeah.
With Jennifer Lopez, whose new book, True Love, is in stores tomorrow. A portion of the proceeds from this book go to the Lopez Family Foundation.
Yes.
Why was that important? Explain the foundation and why you felt...
The foundation is something me and my sister started when we were both pregnant. We always had this dream ever since I got in the public eye and I started doing well. You know, and she's into, you know, she's a reporter, and she's into
a great reporter,
political and social issues. She's all over there all the time. It was like, what can we do? Like, one day we're going to have to do something. So when we were both pregnant and kind of sitting on the couch and not able to do much else, we started really thinking, like, what can we do? Plus, when you become a mom, your whole perspective on life changes in the world. It's like, what are we going to do to make this world a better place for our kids? I mean, come on, we got to do stuff. So we formed the Lopez Family Foundation, and we decided it's going to be about health and education for women and children. And ever since then, it's been 6 years. Obviously, the kids are 6 years old since we started the foundation, and we've opened clinics and did different things. And we always, you know, our motto is one step at a time. We make a difference, and every one person can do something that can help lead to making everything a little bit better for people. And so that's what we're doing. We just recently opened in the Bronx, you know, the Center for Healthy Living at Montefiore Hospital. So that was a big thing for us, too.
In the book, you talk about as a little girl going to sleep at night and dreaming of the family that you always wanted.
Oh, yeah.
You have 2 little ones of your own. How have those 2 changed your life?
Oh, my
Emmy and
God.
Max. I know it's hard to...
Like, you know, they make your life so much better. I don't want to get, you know, get emotional or anything, but they just make everything better. It's like you think your life is one thing and it's great and it's fine and all these things, and you have ups and downs, but even in the downs they make it better, and the ups they make it better. It's just everything is just more amazing because of them.
So in the book, you talk about that moment you're on tour and you're on the plane and your little boy Max crawls into your lap
Yeah.
and says to you, will you always be my mommy?
Yeah.
And this was after the divorce. I know every mom
Yeah.
in the audience is reacting to that.
I think he was confused. You know, we were traveling the world. They were young. Their dad wasn't with them now. And it was just like, you know, what is this? You know what I mean? What's going to happen?
So what do you say in a situation?
I said, I can't answer every question you ever have, but I can tell you that Mommy and Emmy and Max will always be together.
And he was okay with that? Yeah.
You know.
I do know. I'm tearing up.
Look it.
Yeah, I do know.
Stupid?
It's not stupid. Unless you're calling me stupid. You calling me stupid? Are you calling me stupid? Oh, this took a nasty turn. I know. It's so hard when you talk about your baby.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Yeah. Your book is so revealing, Jen, about, I don't think people will realize that here you are, she's a major star, such a talent, and suffered from self-esteem issues.
Oh, sure.
Your whole life, and didn't even recognize it as that.
Didn't even know.
What was going on?
I don't know. You just don't realize certain things, that you don't have a certain type. I never really understood what loving yourself was. You know what I mean? When people are like, you gotta love yourself, and you're like, I think I do. I do. Yeah, I do. But that's one of the things I learned through having gotten divorced and having kind of hit that rock bottom and having to take a good look at myself. It's like, what are you doing wrong? This is not just about other people. This is about you. And you have to take responsibility for your life. So
you were saying you were looking for acceptance from the outside all the time, from the time you were little, instead of finding it from within.
Yeah, I was little and I would run track and it was like, oh, I'd get a medal and then everybody be like, oh, Jen's great. You know what I mean? And it was like, you're looking for that all the time instead of just knowing, like, I am great. I am great. I'm a great person. I'm a good person. I try to do the right things. I try to, you know, and I never gave myself that credit. I never gave myself credit for being good at anything, I realized. Like, I always believed that you're always more apt to believe the negative things that people say about you than the positive things, because you're not telling yourself the positive things enough. We're always telling ourselves the negative things. And I feel like that's something that I've needed to learn how to do. So when I say things like that, I love myself or I love this, it's not a thing that comes from being arrogant or conceited. It comes from having to build yourself up from within, because those voices that we hear are always the ones that are more negative. And that's destructive, I think, and it makes us make bad choices in life.
Are those voices getting weaker?
I battle those voices all the time, and I always, you know, again, it's always about kind of reminding myself, like, you are worthy to have a good life and to have a good relationship and to have, you know, be successful. You deserve all those things. Everybody does.
I think that, and that comes across so clearly in your book, and I think that so many women, I mean, I'm 60 years old and still deal with these issues.
Oh,
and I've done, I think, okay with my life, but if you don't feel it, do you get up in the morning, I know this is going to sound silly, and look in the mirror and go, you go, girl.
Oh, I have learned to get up in the morning and, you know, literally look at myself and say, hey, you look beautiful today. You know, and I know I look like crap. You know, I'm not looking that great when I wake up. And, you know, it's like, I love you. I really love you. You're doing really great. You constantly have to be giving yourself the pat on the back. You don't have to look for it from other people. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself.
You know what, Jen? I'm so glad that you have learned to love yourself.
Yeah, I'm learning.
You're learning to love yourself.
Yes.
We love you.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
True Love is fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
Be sure to check out a copy of her new book, True Love, which is available online and in stores tomorrow. And don't forget to check out the show she produces on ABC Family, The Fosters, and her upcoming movie, The Boy Next Door. Jeez, you are busy.
Little busy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.